Yo, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna be working on the Vette. I haven't been driving this car a lot, unfortunately. It's been sitting quite a bit. There's a lot of deferred maintenance items that I've been kind of sleeping on. Deferred maintenance is the cheapest maintenance, but we got some events coming up and some different things. I'm gonna start daily driving it for a couple weeks. I'm gonna get the car up here, get it up in the air, and we're gonna check out a few different things. Let's get into it. That ought to work. I can just back the C10 straight out. Man, C10's marking its territory a little bit. Hey, but if it's leaking oil, it has oil. Now we'll put this over here. Now the car is so low that this low profile jack doesn't even fit underneath. So I made these ramps that I back up onto. And since I only have one low profile jack, I have to jack up the back and put it on wood. That way that thick jack will fit underneath here. It is quite an ordeal getting this car up off the ground. Now that the big red jack's holding up the back, we can put the low profile up front. And now we can just lift from the front and the back at the same time. Car is fully up in the air. We can roll underneath and address issue number one. The exhaust has been rattling pretty bad and knocking. I feel like something's loose. And if you'll recall, when I installed the full exhaust on this car, I had to rig together a section right back here. And I said it was temporary. This is gonna be absolutely temporary. That was over 2 years ago. Well, buddy, it's still there and temporarily fixed. So I feel like something's messed up with that. Let's crawl under. Going in. We got jack stands and jack on both sides and ramps in the back. So I hope I don't unalive myself while I'm down here. Here's the rigged section previously discussed. Looks like it's holding up pretty good. Let's just start shaking stuff. I don't know, man. Seems pretty solid still. I don't think there's any issue with this. I mean, besides how it looks. But maybe I'll come through and tighten all these. The sound I'm hearing almost sounds like it's like up against something and kind of just like vibrating along the firewall or along the tunnel here. I don't really see any points of contact. I'm gonna crawl around a little bit. I'll let you know if I find something. All right, dudes, here's what I'm coming up with. The headers themselves are solid. I'll probably still go up top and check the bolts once the car is back on the ground, but that's solid. And there's nothing touching anywhere. Nothing touching, moving on back. Right here, that looks like that might have rubbed at one time, but it's not at the moment. But this one up here is touching. That's the only thing I could think of that's making the noise, because everything else is hanging as it should be and not touching anything. So I'm gonna try and move this, maybe swing it down, but I don't want this to be the farthest thing sticking down. Well, I got the nut loose there, but the clamp won't actually pop, so it seems pretty permanent. So what I did, stuck the screwdriver up here and just kind of pried it over and kind of bent it past a little bit, and then it sprung back to where it's at now. And now that's not touching, and this one's not touching either. And if we give it a shake, like, it's not gonna move any more than that. So I'm gonna call it good. I hope that fixed it. Tighten that back down. You're gonna go through, make sure everything's still tight. A couple of these rigged up ones took a couple turns, but no big deal. So we should be done under the car. On to the next thing. I got a list around here somewhere. Next thing to do is take off all the wheels. That way I can check. For one, I'm gonna check the wheel spacers and make sure they're still torqued, and then check out the brakes. Front brakes are getting there, but they're still good. The calipers are not. Shout out to myself 3 years ago. That side looks about the same. The back brakes still have plenty on them. Courtney's here. I didn't even call her this time. She just appears when I need her. Now we just need to re-torque the wheel spacers, make sure that they're good. And luckily Courtney is here to hold the brake pedal.
You want me to get in there?
Yeah.
It looks scary.
Oh, wait.
Well, not that. I meant like the whole thing being unstable.
I get that for you.
Oh, thank you. Good lord. This is so scary. What do I do?
Oh, yeah. I think we're good. They didn't budge at all, which is good. Hello.
I didn't budge at all.
Back right's good. Check the front. These are 20 millimeter spacers front and back, by the way, and they seem to bring the stock wheels just about perfectly flush. Thanks for doing that.
You're welcome.
Those sway bar bushings are looking a little sad right here. Maybe that's enough to convince me to upgrade them. I don't know. Everything else looks pretty good, checks out. Now, one other thing to do while the car is up is try to get some better tip alignment here. This one is a lot looser than here. That is because on the bottom here is just a band clamp on this side. And then on that side, we got one of these U-bolt clamps that hold a lot tighter. So I'm gonna rip this one off quick and put one of them U-bolt clamps on. Try and get this one close and then send it home. And actually, that looks pretty good. Much better. And now that we did all that work to get the car in the air, I'm gonna put the wheels back on, put it back on the ground. Then we're gonna go under the hood and check out a couple things under there. First thing under the hood, trying to get air conditioning working again. I hope it just needs a recharge. Picked up one of these units, and we have our access port right here. Look into that. Before we do that, check the oil. Looks pretty good. Smells all right. I just checked, and I've only put 400 miles on in 8 months. So I'm not due for an oil change anytime soon, but I am curious. Next time I do it, I'm gonna do another lab kit and send it in, but that's in a couple months. So these are pretty simple. We're gonna turn on the car, set everything to max AC, make sure that compressor is going. Like that. That's good. That's that. Does need a little bit. All right, it's in the green. I'm gonna call it good. Oh yeah. That's nice and cold. We good. Should be good under the hood. Moving inside. I know it's been neglected. I'm gonna get this cleaned up in here. I did want to point out, I get questions on these seats, the NRG Prisma Ultra seats. They're a pretty big seat, and it's a tight fit in the Vet. You wouldn't be able to use your factory seat belts, I don't think, because that's right up against. So I got the harness bar in here with the 5-point, but the seat brackets, I got these off of eBay. They're just a cheap bracket for the C5. They're universal, and I used the NRG brackets that came with the seats, and the slider I used came off a random website, I forget. So it was really just pieced together, all of this. There's not really, I really had to figure it out. I mean, as you can see, like I have holes drilled where I didn't use, and I had to move stuff around a bunch, but they're in here. They work pretty good. One thing, I actually take the cushions out when I drive because the ones that come with the seats are really thick and it makes me sit too high. Anyway, I'm gonna get that cleaned up. All right, interior is done, looking good. Now we'll break into our detailing cabinet, grab some Adams detail spray and a couple rags, and get the car wiped down. Yo! Hey! What are you doing?
Checking out my lantern.
Car cleaned up great. I actually forgot how nicely it did clean up. Definitely a lot more motivated to drive it. We got one more thing to do. We got one of these rigs. I picked up a Insta 360 camera for the back here. I'm gonna get this mount set up, see if I can get it figured out here. All right, I got the triple suction cup mount thing on there, and it's solid. It ain't going nowhere with the stick. And then this pulls out like that. And then the 360 camera goes on here, and then it gives you a view, something about like that, of the back of the car. It's like a third person. It's gonna make for some sweet footage. Buying this camera was a big reason for today's video, getting the Vet kind of back in shape, do a lot more driving with it, get some cool videos with it. That's probably gonna wrap it up for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate all the support. It definitely helps upgrading equipment and stuff like that. So thank you. Be on the lookout for more C5 videos. Take it easy. See you in the next one.